Hey, what is going on, guys? It's DK back at you with another video here. It's breaking the 4-game Call of Duty main slate on Saturday. Before I get into the video, if you guys are new to the channel, my name's DK. I make daily videos breaking down NBA, NFL, and esports daily fantasy sports slates. Esports including Call of Duty, League of Legends, and Counter-Strike. So with that out of the way, let's jump in the video. Before we get to players and their prices for the slate on Saturday, I had to wait a while here. It's almost midnight at Central Time. The Draftkings finally released their salaries, so I was able to get this video up for you guys. Let's go over first. Well, let's go over my lineup if we can get to my lineup. It's gonna let me click on it. I don't think it's going to, which is annoying. Hold on. There we go. Okay. So this is the final lineup I went with: Goddard, Farah, Wuskin, Dashy, Kenny, and Atlanta FaZe. So again, talked about Atlanta FaZe in the team spot. They were the biggest favorites of the day. They won, so I thought they were a really safe option there for the team spot. In my captain spot, I've put in Goddard. Now, unfortunately, that game went 3-0. Honestly, a bit unlucky. That game, looking at the odds, was the game that was projected to say the closest. It was almost a pick'em. Unfortunately, again, it went the other way. It went 3-0 sweep. So Goddard only got to play 3 maps, did not get to play that crucial game for a hard party. And that is the crucial game. Game 5, Search and Destroy, not the biggest deal if you missed that one, but the fourth hard point, or the second hard point, the fourth game, is the big one. You really, really want that one. Unfortunately, again, for me, that it didn't work out. Same thing with Pharaoh, right? So I had a mini stack of that game with Goddard and Pharaoh. And then I used the Optic Gaming and London game, which did turn out good. Wuskin and Dashy were amazing. Wuskin 138 fantasy points, Dashy 127. Kenny, the low-owned guy, I was willing to take a shot on, just completely busted. The first game, I knew I was dead in the water right away. He went double negative first game. I did pick it up a little bit, but it's hard to recover when you go 18 and 35 the first map. So, yeah, I knew I was basically dead in the water there, unless the other guys went off. And unfortunately, Goddard and Pharaoh only played 3 maps, so that's the way it goes sometimes. The FaZe guys, I did a full fade. I was really, really hoping for a 3-0. We almost got it. Unfortunately, they dropped the domination by like 2 or 3 points. I was just like, oh man, because those FaZe guys were really high owned. Simp was like over 50% owned. Celium got some ownership. Yeah, man, I was close, but again, that's the way it goes sometimes. It's really all about, sometimes it comes down to luck. So let's go over the winning lineup, and then we can talk about the slate today. All right. So this is the winning lineup. He put Dashy in the captain spot with Mac Melts, Slasher, Celium, Abizi, and London Royal Ravens. So he did a 2-man FaZe stack there with Celium and Abizi. I talked about, Abizi. I liked him a good amount for his price. Again, I went with the full FaZe fade. I was hoping for the 3-0. Didn't end up working out. And then he threw Slasher and Dashy in there for Optic Gaming, and then Mac Melts from New York. So basically a 2-2-1 stack with the London Royal Ravens in there as well. So yeah, this was more of a mismatch, right? Because we saw 3 of the 4. We saw 2 games go, 4 games. We saw 1 go all 5, and 1 go 3-0. And it really does matter that 4th game. As long as you get that 4th game, you're basically good. So 3 games went almost the full 5 games, and that was key. So you can have kind of a mismatch. So again, it really depends. People ask me, what's your roster construction like? Like, what do you recommend? Well, it depends on how the slate goes, honestly. And what do you predict, right? Do you think a team can get 3-0, right? I was really hoping for that FaZe 3-0. Unfortunately, again, it didn't work out for me. They did end up going to 4 games. Again, do you think all the games go 4 or 5 games? Do you think a couple of games go 3-0, right? So it's like, that's how you want to build your lineups around. What do you think happens with all the games? Now, it's going to be a little bit difficult right now, at least. We don't have any Vegas odds. I'm going to refresh this again. I checked a couple different betting sites. I've seen nothing so far for Call of Duty. I'm guessing we're not going to get anything until tomorrow morning. So, yeah, that's what we have to work with. No betting odds. But let's go to it. First, we'll talk about Atlanta FaZe versus London Royal Ravens. I'm guessing Atlanta FaZe is going to be favored here by a decent amount. I think they are the best team in this tournament. So let's talk about their players and their prices. Simp is the highest priced guy at 9.8K. He was really chalky on this slate. Now, he kind of had a letdown game. No, he wasn't bad, right? 71 and 67, still put up 102 fancy points. But you expected a little bit more from him. I think he is someone that is okay. The issue is Atlanta is they're just such a good team that a guy like Celium, a guy like Abizi, even Priesta have the upside to really take over a game. So, do I want to go for Simp again? Or not again. Do I want to play Simp on this slate? I think he is doable for sure. Again, roster construction is pretty easy. Once again, there's a couple of the guys' prices went up a little bit, but still, you only had to play like one cheaper guy, really. So, Simp is a guy I'm interested in for sure. But I think I slightly prefer the other guys on his team, guys like Celium, guys like Abizi, for a little bit less, right? Celium at 8.6K, Abizi at 8.2K. Now, Celium had the big day today. He had 137. But he's reached over 100 in 2 of the 4 games. A guy like Abizi, whose price is really cheap at 7.4K. Again, over 100 in 2 of the 4 games as well. So he's someone I think does intrigue me at his price, even though it went up a little bit. And Priesta, I don't mind him at 7.8K. I think he goes maybe a little bit more forgotten about in this FaZe team because he's only had 1 game over 100 fantasy points. But he still has upside as well. Those top 4 guys for FaZe, any one of those guys can go off. I think they are going to be favorites on this one. Probably, I don't know. My best guess would be around the minus 250 to minus 300 range. So I do have some interest in Atlanta FaZe. I think, again, there's always a chance they can 3-0 because I think they are the best team right now in this tournament. So, yeah, and then even Major Maniac. Now, normally he's a guy that I kind of avoid, but the price tag's getting to a really, really cheap price at 6.2K. Now, sure, right, he doesn't have huge upside, but he's their OBJ player. But if you want to go that Atlanta FaZe stack, if that's something you're interested in, getting 2 of those top guys, you can pair him with Major Maniac if you want to. If you think, maybe this is the only game that goes 5 games, right? So that's something that's doable, right? So I think he is certainly in play as a value option. They're on a really good team, probably going to win, and it helps when you're winning a game like your KD, right? So having control of like the hard point and the domination, it's easier to get kills. So Major Maniac at this price point, I think he is definitely in play for value. Let's talk about the London team now. So this is a team I think goes low owned on this slate. The reason being they're playing Atlanta. I think, again, Atlanta is probably the best team, but I think that's going to scare some people off these guys. Now, I don't know if that's necessarily right because Wuskin at 8K really stands out to me. Sure, he said, he played against Atlanta. Well, yeah, they got 3-0 against Atlanta. He's still solid, right? 63 and 48. An okay game there against Chicago and a big game there against Optic Gaming. He is, he really carries this team as far as the killing department, right? So he is a really high KD. He was sporting a 1.34 KD, which is the highest in this tournament going into this today. So I do have interest in Wuskin. I think running maybe a couple FaZe stack and running back with Wuskin is not the worst idea if that's the direction you want to go. Because Wuskin is a guy that can carry London to at least 1 win, maybe even 2, right? So yeah, Wuskin at that price point does really stand out to me. The only other guy I would have some interest in is Dylan at 6.8K. I mentioned him in my video last time as a guy that kind of has been struggling going into it, but has flashed a lot of upside last season. He's had back-to-back pretty solid days, 93 and 94, 100 to 195. He's getting some good kills, right? He's averaging about 20 kills a game. He's an aggressive player. I think he is someone that does intrigue me for value. Scraps had a big day. Or a big day the other game, right? He had a pretty solid day as well. I think he's okay as well, but I think my preferred place would be Wuskin and then maybe Dylan for value there. On the Toronto side, so this is a team that, the price tags are pretty appealing, right? The highest priced player Methods at 7.8K. Now, if we're just looking at KD's going into the day today, Methods was sporting a 1.11. Bance a 1.02. Everyone else below 1. Now, Classic had the big day today. He had a huge day. He had 94 and 74, plus 20, 150 fancy points. So, I think people are just going to be box score watching and say, oh, this guy is way too cheap for his price. Right? He put up 150 fancy points. Personally, I think it's a little bit more of an outlier because going into today, Classic was sporting at 0.92 KD, actually the lowest on his team. So he's someone I think the public might be on if they're just looking at the fantasy points per game. Personally, I don't think I'm going to go there. I think I'm going to look elsewhere. I think, again, that's more of an outlier game in my opinion. So Methods at 7.8K does appeal me, or is appealing, and then also Bance at 7.4K. Those would be the two guys to look to on the Toronto side. Again, Classic, I just think he had a great game today. They only have one game in the DraftKings scorebook, right? So that's all people can look at is that he's averaging 150 fantasy points per game. Personally, I think the public will be all over that. I'm going to look elsewhere, and I think I'll fade the high ownership there. And a guy who again has been struggling, going into the tournament, he was at about a 0.9 KD. So I think more of an outlier. I think I'm going to go with the Classic fade for tomorrow. On the Minnesota side, so this is a team that is a little bit more star-studded, right? They got the guys at the top with GodRx and Assault. And then, guy like a Sim struggles. Silly had a good day today, but that's kind of another situation with Classic on the other side. I just think, sure, he had a really good day. He was 61 of 43. More of an outlier, though. Again, I'll pull up his stats going into the tournament from Minnesota. Let's see. Silly was a 0.93 KD, so almost the lowest, right next to a Sim. So again, I think that's more of an outlier situation. So I'll probably pass on Silly. The two guys I'm looking to are GodRx and Assault, especially GodRx. I played him in the captain spot. Again, he was solid, 55 and 51, but it was a 3-0. So, again, a little bit unlucky there that he missed out on that second hard point. But, yeah, going into the tournament, he's been the guy that's really been carrying Minnesota. A really high KD of 1.27. So yeah, I do have a good amount of interest there in GodRx. I think Assault is fine too if you want to go a mini 2-man stack, but GodRx definitely my preferred play, even though Assault did better today. So yeah, I do really like GodRx because again, he's a guy that can carry this team for sure. Next game we have Paris versus Optic Gaming LA. So on the Paris side, there's the one man only I mentioned. That's Dens. Now sure, again, Loqua. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing that right, to be honest. He had a big day, but just like the Classic situation, just like the Silly situation, I'd probably look elsewhere. 69, 62 was fine, but I just prefer the guy who's historically been carrying this team, right, in Dens. And I know you got to pay a premium for him. I think that does lower the ownership a little bit, but there's guys on the other side of this game, on the Optic Gaming side, where you could run a little mini game stack if you want to. I think there's some appealing prices on the other side. So a guy like Dens is, again, really expensive there, 9.6K, but it's for good reason. He's at a 1.2 KD ratio going into this tournament. Everyone else on his team is below 1. So yeah, Dens is the only guy I'm really interested in. I don't think it to anyone else, to be honest, for value. I think I prefer other value plays. So that's about it for me on the Paris side. On the Optic Gaming LA side, there's a good amount to like for me. Now, Kenny, he'll probably have a big day tomorrow just because he let me down today. That's just the way it works in DFS sometimes. Yeah, I still think he is viable as a cheap option. He had a bad day, just a terrible game one there where it was double negative. Before that, though, right, he was solid, though, 84 and 85, 84 and 91. He's a sub player. I think he's still okay, but I much prefer the two ARs in this team, Dashy and Slasher. Now, in this game mode, really they only do need one AR. Optic Gaming kind of been switching roles around, but these are the two guys that have the most upside, Dashy and Slasher. Again, I'm still surprised this team is struggling with how much talent they have. Just not even talking about DFS perspective, just Call of Duty perspective. Like these names, like these guys, Dashy, Slasher, Kenny, and TJ, like that. You would really expect Optic Gaming to be one of the best teams in this league for sure if we're just looking off of the names and the talent recently, right? But this season or this Call of Duty, they haven't really meshed together well as a team. But again, the price tags here for Dashy, Slasher, I like these guys a good amount. They're the two guys that are going to carry this team in the kill department. And you're getting them at pretty decent discounts, right? 8.4K for Dashy, 8K for Slasher. So those are the two guys I'm interested in. Kenny, again, he probably will have a big day after letting me down today, but he's the only other guy I would have some interest in. Chino's basically a cross-off. He's basically J-Cap. I'm not going to do that. TJ Haley's been struggling as well. I don't think I want to go there. Last game here, we have New York versus Florida. So this New York team, again, the kind of downside is they are a very, very balanced team. Mac Meltz had the big game today. He had 154 fantasy points. So again, maybe that kind of raises his ownership. If we're just looking off historical numbers, right? Mac Meltz has a 0.95 KD. He actually has tied for the lowest on his team. Whereas Attach has the highest at 1.04. But again, everyone is around the 1 range. So sure, he had a good day. He's the highest priced guy. I think that's going to raise his ownership. Personally, I'll probably look elsewhere again. I just think the public might chase that a little bit. I would probably prefer Attach for a little bit less. I think he is the guy that has the most upside in my opinion. 127, 112, 103 fantasy points. He is, I would say, their main slayer after watching a good amount of New York here. So I think Attach would probably be my favorite play. And I also like Temp at 7K. I know he also had a pretty solid day here today as well. But yeah, I think that price tag is appealing. You compare him with Attach. I think that's the way I would look on the New York side. Lastly, we have Florida. Florida is a team I do really like because, again, very top heavy. They have 2 guys that really carry them in the kill department with Farrell, with Skies. Both of these guys I like a lot. Skies, maybe a little bit more than Farrell. He has a slightly higher KD. He looked really, really good today in a losing effort there. 59 and 43. So I do like Skies a good amount. I like Farrell a good amount. Again, these are the 2 guys that are carried the roster. Everyone else on the team, I don't think I get to anyone here for value. So that basically wraps it up for the team-by-team breakdown. As far as the teams and who I'm targeting, it's going to be interesting, right? I think FaZe is going to be popular once again just because I think personally they're the best team in this tournament. So I think that's might be where I go. Yeah, again, I'm curious to see what the Vegas odds are going to be. Hopefully they come out with that tomorrow. But FaZe, definitely the team I'm probably looking at right now. Maybe Minnesota too, but again, I'm curious to see what Vegas comes out with for their, the spreads there. And yeah, so right now, again, let's just say we throw FaZe in the team spot. Who am I looking at for captain, right? Well, I want those guys with upside. I don't want to go value. I want those guys that can carry a team. So the guys that I'm considering for captain, right? If we're just going team by team, on the Atlanta side, I really think you can make an argument for those top 4 guys. Atlanta's a really, really solid team. Any one of those guys can go off. So I think any 4 of those guys really are guys that are in consideration for me. On the London side, it's only Wuskin that I'm considering. He has an insane KD, again, 1.34 going into it. So I do like him as a captain option. On the Toronto side, it's probably only Methods for me at 7.8K. That is a cheap price tag, so I think he is someone that does intrigue me. On the Minnesota side, I think it's only GodRx. Assault is viable as well, but again, I really want to shoot for the upside guys here. I think GodRx would be the guy I would consider there. On the Paris side, it's only Dens for me. Again, I don't really want to target any of those value options. On the Optic Gaming LA side, it's Dashy, it's Slasher for me, and that's it. If we're just talking about, again, for captains. The New York side, probably Attacked, but I don't think I'm going to go anyone in New York just because, again, they're a tough team to predict. They're very, very balanced. If you watch my CSGO videos, they're kind of going to straw us, right? It's hard to predict which one's going to go off, so probably would be Attached if you made me pick, but I don't think I'm going to go there. Personally, on the Florida side, it's Skies and Farrell that are very much in consideration. So let's just throw in, let's say I throw in GodRx in the captain spot once again, because that's what I went with last time. Again, he had a solid day, but you expect a little bit more. Unfortunately, again, that game did only go 3 games. You have 8.4K remaining, so again, you maybe have to play one cheaper guy, but that's about it. So yeah, Call of Duty it's a very, very interesting and different DFS game than League of Legends, CS:GO, because you don't get that bonus for matches not played. So, and it really, again, it depends on how the slate goes. If a couple games go 3-0 and the other 2 go 4 or 5 games, you're going to want the exposure in those 2 games. So, how do you think the slate pans out is how you want to go about roster construction, right? Do you want to maybe just focus on 2 games? Or do you think, all 4 games are close and go at least 4 games and you just want bits and pieces here and there? I think either option is fine. It's just, how the slate ends up. So I think that's going to do it for the video, guys. If you have been enjoying the content so far, would really appreciate if you like this video, subscribe if you haven't already. Also, follow me on Twitter. That is in the description below. I'll be giving out, bits and pieces of information here and there. Again, I tweeted out my, spreadsheet for Call of Duty earlier today. It was kind of funny. Some random Twitter account tweeted it, tried to take ownership for it. And some other guy came in and DM'd me. I was like, hey, I think this guy's trying to steal your work. I looked at it on another Twitter account. I was like, yep, that is 100% my spreadsheet. It's kind of funny. It's like, dude, just retweet it if you want to use it or like quote tweet it. But don't try to act like it's yours. I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, I'm not going to call anyone out. It's just, don't steal someone's work. But yeah, thanks again for everyone to come and check out this video. I really do appreciate it. And I will see you guys all in the next one.